Okay, so today we're going to be covering our side stance standing postures. So our hips are going to be facing towards the wide side or the side of the mat. Last week we covered front stance positions, so our pelvis was facing towards that front end of the mat. We will review those front stance positions, pyramid pose and warrior one, as well as chair, standing half moon, and what else do we, standing forward fold. Okay, so we will review those poses as well as our sun salutations, but we will start to incorporate and kind of add on to our practice these standing poses. And these standing side stance postures can be really challenging in the fact that we're going to be holding them for a long period of time. And if you're coming into this practice with very minimal energy, you feel run down from the past week, maybe you're overworked, maybe you are underslept, maybe you are a little bit sick, whatever the case is, it's important that you start where you are today. So if you need to take any child's pose breaks, do so, okay? I don't know your body and where you are personally throughout your life and your body. And so it's important that you take that responsibility and that ownership for yourself, that you say, I need a break right now. I need to pause. Okay. And so for those of you who are pushers, this is the hardest part of the practice, is not pushing through that and just saying, I need to relax and take care of myself. And for the sensualists, it's that trouble of knowing, okay, so when do I push myself a little bit more and encourage myself to go a little bit more beyond my comfort zone? And where do I also find that boundary of, when I need to actually relax? So it's important that we identify all of those different areas throughout our practice too. Let's go ahead before we start any movement. I'd like to come to corpse pose. So, yep, favorite pose, right? So corpse pose, all the way onto your back, please. And with corpse pose, you can do this with your half corpse with the knees bent and the feet on the floor. Your knees will collapse into each other, or you can come into your full corpse position with the legs extended out in front of you, the toes turned outwards, and the arms resting down by your sides. Good. So if you would like to, you can also cover up your eyes using your towel and just placing those over your eyes for now, as we start to just check in with where we are physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, spiritually, and just notice what we're working with. So take a full breath in through your nose, let it fill up into belly, chest, and throat. Then open up your mouth, exhale, let out a sigh. Again, fill up. And exhale, release. Good. Fill up one more time in this way. And release. And just breathing normally here. Mouth closed. And still relaxed. And feeling the breath flow in and out through the body. As you invite a little bit more ease. So as we have in our lecture portion talked about the yamas and the niyamas, We kind of went into more depth about the yamas this past week. I wanted to do a brief reading on how to incorporate these yamas and niyamas into our practice. I once heard a story about a group of monks going down to a river at night, getting in a boat, and rowing as hard as they could. At dawn, they discovered that they had made no progress. They had forgotten to untie the boat. To me, this anecdote beautifully illustrates the importance of the yamas and the niyamas, the moral restraints and observances of yoga. Most Americans have their first yoga introduction in a class. These classes are, in fact, asana classes. That is, they are yoga posture classes. The asana, or postures, are the third limb of the 8-limb path. The yamas and niyamas are the first and second limbs of the path and form the foundation of all the work that follows. So for those of us who do not come to yoga with a mature spiritual practice already in place, there is a missing piece, even from the very beginning. Oftentimes, the sense that something is missing manifests in a desire for more yoga postures, harder yoga postures, more classes per week, more workshops, more teachers, more styles, more technique. There is a restlessness. Out with the old routine, in with the new yoga routine. Out with the old job, in with the new job on the healing path. Out with the old community of friends and in with the new yoga pals. But our new awareness only serves to deepen our sense that something is not right. Our restlessness and our desire for more are actually useful indicators of our need for change. What we need is not to dig a new well, but to dig even more deeply the well we are already in. The means for digging deeper are the yamas and niyamas. These are the tools that will support our transformation. The yamas and the niyamas provide us with the energy, the balance, the necessary insight, and the motivation to work the rest of the limbs of the path. The 8-limb path is not linear. It is a dance of energies building upon themselves. But without the yamas and niyamas, the rest of the path is empty technique. Practicing without the full engagement of our hearts and souls, we are like the monks tied to the dock, going nowhere. So I'd like for you to revisit your purpose, your intention, your why for showing up on the mat today. Maybe it's framed around ahimsa, compassion and non-harming, or satya, truthfulness and honesty, or asteya, non-stealing and taking what only that you need, or brahmacharya, non-lusting, or a parigraha, non-grasping, non-attachment. And just notice what resonates with you as you embark in your practice. Sometimes it's not what we do that's the most important, but how we do it. Take another full breath in wherever you are. Exhale and empty out with a sigh. If your knees are bent, extend them straight out. And everyone, raise your arms up towards the sky and all the way overhead, reaching long throughout the entire body. Give yourself a big stretch. Good, then exhale, take the right knee into your chest. Wrap the hands around the front of the shin as best as you can. Good, keep your left leg long, the toes pulled up towards the sky so your heel is reaching out in front of you, wind releasing pose. Start to circle around your right ankle, stirring it about. And then circle around in the other direction. Bring the ankle back to stillness. Take your right hand, palm the hand around your right kneecap, and left hand is going to go onto your left hip crease. So right on the top of the hip. Using that left hand to keep your hips stable, you're going to start to circle around your right knee, stirring it about. Just try to keep the hips from moving in all directions. You just want to feel how the thigh bone stirs around and has most of the movement here. Circle around in the other direction. And bring it back to stillness. Let the hands wrap around that right knee or shin again. Keep your left leg long. Gently curl your forehead up to meet your knee. Tucking in as tightly as you can, pressing your low back into the ground. Squeeze it a little bit tighter. And then lower your head and shoulders down. Take your left knee in to meet the right. Both legs tuck in. Rock side to side. And then carefully come back to stillness. Keep your left leg tucked in. Right leg extends out in front of you. Wind releasing on this side. And then start to circle around your left ankle. Stirring with the big toe. And breathing fully through the lungs. Stir around in the other direction. And bring it back to stillness. Good. Now left hand's going to cup around the left knee. Right hand comes to the front of your right hip, keeping right leg strong and actively pressing down. Start to circle around your left knee. Stirring that leg about. And then changing directions, circling around and around. Good, and then bringing it back to stillness. Wrap your hands around that left knee, press your low back into the ground, gently lift your forehead up to meet your leg, squeezing in tight and still reach out for your right heel. Lower your head and shoulders, and then bring your right knee in to meet the left, rock side to side again. Carefully tip over onto one side, rolling all the way over. And then slowly making your way up to a seat, extending your top leg, pressing with your hands. Let your head come up last. All right, so we're going to sit with our feet together, soles of the feet touching. This one is actually called bound angle or cobbler's pose, and I'll go into a little bit more depth on this in future practices for our hip opening practice. But for today, I want you to bring the soles of the feet together, balls of the feet touching also. Your ankles, your hands wrap around the shins, okay? So I want you to wrap your hands around the shins and then use your knees to press down. So you're using your strong butt. So instead of going like this, pressing down with our elbows, okay, that's a passive stretch. It doesn't do as much for us as if we were to actively encourage our knees down. You'll feel that there's going to be a little bit more of that strength aspect into your pelvis, as well as a nicer opening to a place where you can actually manage. All right, so with this, we're going to go through these circles throughout the pelvis. We know these as Sufi Rolls, okay, not to be confused with sushi rolls. All right, inhale, lift yourself up. Exhale, tip forward to the front of your pelvis, moving your belly button towards your feet. You're going to feel stretch. Good, and then start to circle your body over towards the right, getting down and heavy into that right hip flexor. Scoop around and back into that 12 o'clock tilt, and then to the left, and then forward. Good. Circle around, back, left, forward. Go through a few more rounds. So we're just starting to work through the groin and the pelvis and noticing all the musculature that attaches to this area. And we not only might be feeling this in the groin and the hips, but you also might be feeling this along the side of your waist or your low back. Good. One more circle in this direction. And then when your belly comes down by your feet again, you're going to change direction, circling around towards the left, forward, and down, going counterclockwise. Good. Yesenia, if you're having trouble with this, you can bring your feet a little bit forward and you give yourself a little bit more space. See if that helps a little bit more with the circles. Yeah? Okay. Good. All right. Next time your belly comes down by your feet, you're going to slowly rise up. Good. And we're going to come up onto our hands and knees into a tabletop position. So you can roll over your crossed ankles and come up that way, or swing the legs off to one side. And we're going to make our way into that tabletop shape. So the hands are going to be directly underneath your shoulders. Fingertips are spread. Creases of the wrists are parallel to the front edge of the mat. Knees are directly underneath your pelvis, and make sure that we're not dumping into that low back right now. Make sure that that belly feels like it's strong and actively working first to start off. All right, let's go through our cat-cow. So inhale, feel your tail reach back and up, let your heart shine forward, and then pull your collarbones wide. So it's like you're spreading your hands apart, but they don't actually move. Exhale, round the spine into your cat. Pull the navel in, squeeze to the abdomen, tops of feet press into the ground. Inhale into your cow. Heart shines forward. Exhale, round and curl into your cat. Really lifting, especially from the low navel. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale. And exhale. Good. Inhale to a neutral spine. And then exhale, we're going to curl the toes under and press back in a downward facing dog. Hips go high, head lifts or lowers down in between those arms. Getting a big stretch through the backside of the body. And lift yourself up onto your tippy toes, coming up nice and tall, inhaling up. Exhale, bend both knees. You're gonna bring your belly to your thighs and see if you can stretch your chest back away from the front of the mat. Inhale, straighten out the legs, keep your tail high, and then exhale, the heels come towards the floor. Inhale, climb up. Exhale, bend your knees. Inhale, straighten out the legs, and exhale, heels come down. Good, one more time. Inhale up, keep that tail nice and perky. Exhale, bend your knees, keep the tail up high. Good, flip the tail up a little bit more, Demi. Yeah, good, that was good. Inhale, straighten out the legs, and then exhale, heels down. Good, let's lower our knees down to the floor, nice and wide. Bring your big toes to touch and sit back into a wide knee child's pose. Hips all the way back, forehead to the mat. Good, then walk the hands over to the right, staying low. Left hand is going to stack on top of the right hand. Move your hips to the left, and then lean into your left side body. Head is in between your arms, into this big side stretch of your child's pose. Good, hands walk through center and across to the left. Right hand stacks on top. Shift your hips to the right and then lean into your right side body. Walk the hands through center, rise up onto all fours. Let's come back into our downward facing dog. Curl the toes under, lift the knees, send those hips far back. Good. Now I want you to inhale, raise your right leg to the sky back behind you, lifting up tall into your down dog splits. Exhale as the right foot steps forward between the thumbs, all the way into a lunge. Good, let the hips sink down. Lengthen back through your left heel and still lift up on your left thigh. Woo. I like to be up on my fingertips here, but I'm also still putting weight into my right heel. So I don't feel like I'm just using all the weight in my hands, but I'm pushing down. I'm going to feel that right sit bone move towards my right foot. Yeah, good stuff, huh? Okay, we're going to move into a little bit of a twist here. I'm going to turn direction so you can see this a little bit better. I'm going to plant my left hand on the floor underneath the shoulder, and right hand's going to come on top of the knee. I want to have the hand or the wrist underneath my elbow so that when I press down, I twist my belly and everything from above my belly button towards the right. I want to still keep my right hip heavy. I'm not lifting the hips up. I'm starting to find the wrapping of the spine, reaching back through that left heel. Good, another full breath in. And then exhale, right hand to the floor, step the foot back, downward facing dog. Let's try the other side. Inhale, left leg goes high, up and back behind you, down dog splits, reaching it nice and tall. Exhale as you pendulum swing the foot forward between your thumbs, hips sink down, and then climbing up onto your fingertips into your lunge. Lengthen out through the back of the neck. And then plant your right hand down, left hand on top of the knee, and then twist from above the belly button. So we're not moving the hips for the twist, but we're trying to move from a stationary hip position. Getting that wrapping of the spine, left shoulder stacking on top of the right shoulder. Good, left hand to the floor, stepping back, downward facing dog. Hips high, head low. Carefully walk your feet forward to the top edge of the mat. Coming into your standing forward fold. So feet are going to be about hip distance apart. Knees bent enough so belly touches onto your thighs, and then letting the head drape down. For some of us, it might feel nice to interlace the fingers around the back of the neck. And if you have long hair that's on the back of your neck, just moving your hair out of the way so you're actually touching fingers onto your skin. And I want you to wrap your arms around your ears and drag your elbows towards the floor. Release the hands down towards the ground. Round your spine like a cat. We're going to slowly roll ourselves all the way up to stand, pulling your navel up and in, and stacking the vertebrae one by one until the head stacks above the shoulders. Finding your way into your mountain pose. I'm going to change directions one more time so I can see you guys as you're practicing. So standing at the top edge of your mat, feet are in hips distance apart, toes are facing forward and parallel. Lengthen the fingertips towards the ground as the collarbones spread. Find your mountain pose. And then inhale, circle the arms wide and high, upward hand salute. Exhale, lean forward, tipping from the pelvis. Bring your belly to your thighs, hands lightly to the ground, standing forward fold. Frame the feet. Inhale, right foot steps back, lunge. Hips down, chest lifts, look up, smile. Good. Exhale, left foot steps back, downward facing dog. Bring those hips back as far as it lets you go. And then inhale, bring your shoulders forward over your wrists. Keep your legs actively working. Exhale, the knees down, tail high, and then lower your chest and chin to the floor. Good. Keep your toes down on the mat. There we go. Nice. Now the pelvis comes down, tops of feet on the ground. Lift your chest up about 2 inches. Elbows stay bent. Back of the neck is long for cobra pose. Exhale, lower down and press it back, downward facing dog. Look between the thumbs, inhale, right foot steps all the way forward. Grab the ankle if it doesn't go all the way on its own. So grab that right ankle with right hand and give a nice hop forward. There we go, I like it. Hips down, chest up, look up, smile. Exhale, left foot forward to meet the right, standing forward fold. Inhale, coming up with that flat back. Squeeze from those inner thighs, upright the pelvis fully, upward hand salute. Exhale to mountain pose. Inhale, bring the arms up, upward hand salute. Exhale, standing forward fold. Tipping from the pelvis, bring belly to thighs, bending your knees as much as you need to. Inhale, left foot steps back into your lunge. Hips down, chest lifts, look up, smile. Good, and then exhale, right foot steps back, downward facing dog. Inhale, shoulders stack over your wrists, legs are actively working, plank. Exhale, the knees far behind the hips, they come down. Tail up, chest and chin to the ground for knees, chest, chin. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Inhale to cobra, keep the shoulder blades together as you lift your chest up. Hips stay down, elbows firm back, tops of feet to the ground. Lower and press it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot steps forward all the way, top edge of the mat, lunge. Exhale, right foot steps forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, upward hand salute. Exhale to mountain pose. Inhale, upward hand salute. Exhale, lean forward. Weight is still on the toes as you come into standing forward fold. Inhale, right foot steps back, lunge. Look up, smile. Exhale, left foot back, downward facing dog. Hips high, head low. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Lower the hips, lift the heart. Exhale, lower, send it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward, lunge. All the way top edge of the mat, looking up. Exhale, left foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come up, upward hand salute. Exhale to mountain pose. Inhale, upward hand salute. Exhale, standing forward fold. Relax your neck. Inhale, left foot back, lunge. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower, send it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left foot forward, lunge. Exhale, right foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come up. Exhale, mountain pose. Inhale, upward hand salute. Exhale, standing forward fold. Inhale, right foot back, lunge. Exhale, left foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower, send it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot forward, lunge. Exhale, left foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come up. Exhale, mountain pose. One more. Inhale, upward hand salute. Exhale, standing forward fold. Inhale, left foot back, lunge. Exhale, right foot back, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, lower, send it back, downward facing dog. Inhale, look forward, left foot steps to the top edge of the mat. Look up. Exhale, right foot forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, reverse the swan dive, come up. And exhale to mountain pose. Take a full breath in here. Deep breath out. Once more, feeling strong. And exhale out. All right, any questions on the sun salutations before we move forward? Are you starting to feel a little bit better with that? Yeah? Cool. All right, good stuff. All right, let's come up to standing then. Continuing on. Again, a little bit more review. Feet are facing forward, toes are facing straight out in front of you. Arms come down by your sides. Now you can either have your feet hip distance apart or the big toes touching. This one's actually called samastitihi or ready position. So just depends on which you prefer. For me personally, I like the feedback of my inner thighs touching so I can feel them squeezing in towards each other and the calves separating apart. Good, let's inhale, reach the arms all the way up towards the sky. Interlace your fingers, if you need to see this. Point through the index and then wrap your arms around your ears. See if you can keep your front ribs down. So instead of spilling the belly and pooching out through the abdomen, keep that pelvis neutral, the ribs pressing back, arms lifting up, and then exhale, lean over to the right for standing half moon pose. Pressing out through your left hip. Inhale, pull yourself back up, and then exhale over to the other side. Reaching long through your right hip. Good. Feel the big stretch through right side body. Inhale, lift yourself up, and then exhale, take the hands down and back behind you. I'm going to show you from the side. Interlace the fingers, glue the heels of the hands together, shift the weight forward into your toes as you move your knuckles down and back, squeezing the shoulder blades together, chin lifts up. Now move your hips back enough so that you can tip from the pelvis, leaning forward and come all the way down into the standing forward fold variation. Bring your hands to your pelvis, slide them all the way down to the back of the legs, to the heels, and then bend your knees a lot as you sit into your chair pose. Good. Remember to upright the pelvis enough so that we're not in that 6 o'clock tilt of the pelvis. We want to Michael Jackson that pelvis, and then just pull that navel in. Good. Reaching up. You should be able to see your toes if you look down past your knees. If you cannot, and they're kind of forward, I want you to slide that weight back into your heels and then squeeze your sit bones together. Good. Belly comes onto your thighs. Bring the hips up high, head low. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold in half. Inhale, stretch the arms all the way up towards the sky, upward hand salute. Then interlace your fingers, reaching up nice and tall. Exhale, the hands over to the right, standing half moon. Inhale, up. Exhale to the other side, standing half moon. Inhale, up. Exhale, the hands come down and back behind you. Interlace your fingers. Try doing the opposite thumb on top. So you may need to shift those fingers down one. It should feel like just weird. Like somebody else's hand is back there, okay? Move your weight forward into your toes, squeeze your shoulder blades, lift the chest up. Exhale, fold forward, belly over the thigh, hips high, head low. Hands come to your buttocks, slide the hands all the way down to your ankles, bend your knees, sink your hips down, and come up into your chair pose. Send your shins back. Good. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in again. Breathe out. Belly to your thighs, hips high, head low. Inhale, flat back, halfway lift. And then exhale, fold in half. Plant the hands on the mat, step the feet back, downward facing dog. Good. Let's inhale, raise your right leg to the sky, back behind you, down dog splits. Exhale, right foot steps forward between the thumbs, all the way forward. And then I want you to look at your back foot, the left foot, and hop your left toe slightly forward about 2 inches or so. And then to the left, about 3 inches, maybe even more. Good. Spin your left heel down. So now your left toes are facing 10 o'clock position. Good. And then see if you can press into both the ball of the foot and the outer heel if your arch is collapsing. See if you can feel that lift. Good. Bend into your front knee, upright the pelvis fully, and then reach your arms up towards the sky for warrior one. Lift up tall as you send your pelvis to face that front edge of the mat. Good. Breathe in. Breathe out. See if you can send your right shin forward and your left hip towards your right foot. Good. Now take the hands across the floor, sweeping them down. You're going to bring your belly onto the thigh. Reach your hands back behind you. Interlace your fingers. Lift yourself up and then slide the knuckles down the back leg. Lift the chest up high. Good. Now straighten out your right leg, squeezing those inner thighs. Do so slowly. We're not just straightening out the knee. And then exhale, tip forward, coming into your pyramid pose. So we're doing a little variation Arms and knuckles go up and overhead as best as you can. And then bend your front knee as you sweep the hands across the floor. Come back into your warrior one. Big lift. Exhale as the hands sweep across the floor. Take them back. Knuckles reach high. And then inhale, lift yourself upright. Lifting from the pelvis, slide the knuckles down. Straighten out your front leg. Exhale as you lean forward, belly over the thigh. Knuckles lift high overhead. Bend your front knee, inhale, lift up, warrior one. And then exhale, the hands to the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. Take a full breath in. And exhale, open up your mouth, let out a sigh. Good, then inhale, left leg goes up to the sky, back behind you, down dog splits. Exhale, left foot steps forward between your thumbs. Right toes are gonna slide either 2 inches forward and then 3 inches to the right, or whatever feels best with your body. If you need a little bit more, work with that. Spin your right heel down, right toes are gonna be turned to face 2 o'clock position. Keep the bend in the left knee and inhale up for warrior one. Reaching up and then spin your pelvis forward. Good. If you're noticing if that back knee is bent a little bit, you can start to work on straightening it out from the inner back thigh. It's okay if it's bent a little bit, especially if that right hip flexor is tight. But I also want you to feel like the arch of your right foot is not collapsing into the ground, which is a tendency, especially if we bend that knee. So press into the outer edge of your right foot and then the ball of your right foot too. Bring your belly over the thigh, hands sweep down and reach them back. Interlace the fingers, knuckles high, relax your neck. And then inhale, come all the way upright. Knuckles down the back leg, straighten out your front leg, lift up. And then exhale, tip forward over your left leg, pyramid pose. Sweep the hands across the floor, bend your left knee, inhale, lift yourself up, warrior one, upright that pelvis, and then exhale, belly over the thigh, tipping from the pelvis, knuckles reach back, and all the way overhead. Inhale, lift yourself up. Keep those inner thighs squeezing together. Good, straighten out your front leg, and then tip forward, coming into your pyramid pose. Relax your neck. Bend your front knee, inhale. Sweep the hands across the floor, lift up, warrior one. And then exhale, hands to the ground, step back, downward facing dog. Take a child's pose, knees come to the floor, and then the hips sink all the way back and rest. All right, guys, let's ask questions, make comments. How was that for you guys? I just need to work on my bent knees. So your quadriceps, yeah, top of the thighs. It's getting hot in here. Felt much better than last week. Okay, good. Mijan, for that one, the bent knee position, do what you can. If your warrior one looks a little bit more like this, okay, as opposed to this, that's fine. Okay, these are just different progressions of the posture itself. And so in time, you know, especially if we're working with an injury or some type of, you know, other limitation that might be there, we need to slowly build ourselves up and gradually work towards, you know, different levels of it. So I'm giving you guys a baseline or a standard based on however many people might be able to do, you know, a little bit deeper. Some people need to do a little bit less, or some people fall in this like natural bell curve, right? There's nothing to say that you suck at yoga or anything like that, okay? We all have challenging things to work with, and that's the part of this practice, is that wherever you are, that's where you're working. Okay, and so we're working with that type of challenge. And so working within our boundaries, our guidelines, our edges is really important. So we're not meeting or living up to somebody else's edge. And so that actually, in fact, is living our truth, right? Our satya on the mat is being truthful and honest with ourselves about where we truly are in our practice, and then working with that, okay? It does take some time, and especially if you had like a leg day recently, or you know, you did a lot of work on your standing on your legs, and each day might be different from the last, where you might feel like you've been, you know, overworking yourself. You may need to take it easy that day. That's why we check in on the mat when we first start off with the practice. So give yourself some grace and know that it's okay to be where you are, and to take breaks is necessary for a lot of us, okay? So especially if you are a pusher, learning to take those breaks is the hardest part of the practice. If you are a centralist, understanding when to take those breaks and when to push yourself a little bit more past your comfort zone is the tricky portion of that practice, okay? And again, we're all keeping this in being mindful of our yamas and niyamas, and making sure that we're staying in tune with, you know, being compassionate and non-harming to ourselves and our physical body and our mental, you know, space too. Because we can tell ourselves like, wow, I really suck at this today. Or, you know, we talk to ourselves negatively in our head, and that doesn't really do us any good. Okay, it in fact just belittles us and makes us feel like we have less confidence and self-esteem of where we are. So just trying to be as compassionate and genuine as you can be. All right, any other questions, comments? Yes, it's getting warm, felt better than last week. Anything else that came up for you guys? Any questions about that? Nope, okay. Let's move along. So now we're going to be covering our side stance poses. So let's come into our downward facing dog. All right, so in your downward facing dog, keep your hips up high, head low. Let's inhale and raise the right leg up towards the sky, back behind you. You're going to exhale, and like a big pendulum, swing the foot forward to the top edge of the mat. From here, we're going to actually keep this distance for our side stance poses. Okay, so this distance meaning how far my right foot or my front foot is compared to my back foot. So I'm not going to scooch it up a little bit more. We actually will have a little bit more to work with for this distance. I want you to spin your left heel down. Okay. And you're going to draw an imaginary line from your front heel, that's your right one, all the way back to your left arch. So you want to have this heel to arch alignment. When I spin my left heel down, my toes are not facing straight on or like a perpendicular to the edge of the mat. They're turned in just slightly. All right, so bend deeply into your right knee. And I want you to slowly lift yourself up until belly is facing towards the left side of the mat. You're going to have a bend in your right knee right now. It doesn't need to be super bent, okay, super deep just yet, but eventually we will work towards that. But just as I'm kind of guiding you through this practice, you may not want to have your knee bent the entire time. So imagine that your pelvis is much like this block. Obviously, your pelvis has a lot more rings and such, but if you imagine that the front of the pelvis, okay, are these two corners, or the ASIF are these two corners, imagine right now that in your pelvis, when you bend your front knee, that your pelvis is not going to dip, okay? That we don't feel this happening, where our left side waist becomes kind of bunched up, and our right side waist becomes longer. We want to maintain that length through both sides of our waist. When we bend our knee, we're going to feel like we're just gliding into it, okay? So you guys can kind of move in and out from there, just feeling how bending the knee is not going to affect the movement of the pelvis, or the lack of movement of the pelvis. That's not just doing this, okay? So we're not doing that as we get into the pose, although you may want to, because of flexibility and that strength aspect. Okay, so with that pelvis still in that neutral position, that left groin moving towards your front heel, let's bring our hands into a prayer position. Draw your elbows and your shoulders down so they feel like they're pressing towards the ground. Now keep your shoulders where they are. Extend your arms out into a T shape. This is going to be your position, and we're going to close it off by turning our gaze to look over our front fingertips. Okay, now see if you can bend deeper into your right knee. This posture is warrior two. Again, we want to maintain that balance between both feet, so we feel that that pressure in that back heel and that front foot are going to be withstanding a lot of that weight. Take another full breath here in warrior two. Woo, yeah, good stuff there. I want you to straighten out your right leg the same way that we did in our pyramid pose, moving from the belly of the muscle, so squeezing that in. Good. All right, so now we're going to tip the pelvis. So like you were trying to do in that last posture, we're going to actually do it. So I want you to dig that right thigh deep into hip socket, pressing that hip back. You're going to feel that left side body lengthen out as you tip forward. So if your arms are here, you're going to touch that front wall with your right hand. Okay, keep touching, keep touching, keep touching. And then your right hand can come down onto your shin, your thigh, or if you happen to have a block, moving the block to the inside of the leg. Now with the block, you have different options of height. And then over time, eventually you'll bring your hand down towards the ground if you choose. All right, left hand's going to reach up towards the sky. Spin your rib cage up towards the ceiling to get that left hand up tall. Good. Squeeze those inner thighs together. Draw navel towards spine. This is called triangle pose. Triangle. And you can see how there are multiple triangles that are happening in our body. The one between our legs, where our feet are the base of the triangle and the pelvis is the top. We also create one with our feet and our top hand. There's also one underneath from this right hip to right shoulder to the right hand touching down. We start to see a lot of these movements happening here. Good. Take another full breath here. And you're going to slowly come back into your warrior two, bending into that front knee. Good. Going into reversed warrior. Flip the right palm to face up. Slide the left hand down the back leg. You're going to start to lift yourself up. So what happens a lot of times is we get into that tipped hip here too. Sink down from your left groin, bend your right knee even more, and then reach up and over with your right fingertips. Reversed warrior. Lift yourself back up, warrior two. And I want you to reach forward from your right hand, keeping your right knee bent. You're going to bring your right elbow on top of the thigh, and then bring your left arm across by your left ear. Notice how there's a straight line of energy from my back heel to my left fingertips all the way up, and then draw your navel in towards spine. I'm also not sinking through the shoulder, but I'm pressing away. Side angle. Let's go through it again. Warrior two. Straighten out the front leg, reach forward, triangle. Inhale back up into warrior two. Exhale, reverse the warrior. Flip the palm, left hand down the back leg, sink with the left groin. Inhale up, warrior two. Reach forward, elbow on the thigh, left arm reaches up, side angle. Again, warrior two, lifting up. And let's exhale, hands cartwheel down, frame the foot, and step it back, downward facing dog. Good, inhale, raise the left leg up towards the sky, back behind you. And exhale, left foot steps forward. Bring it all the way there. Spin your right heel down. So now you feel that foot is down. Your left heel is going to line up with your right arch. And you're going to lift yourself up into your warrior two. I'm going to spin around in the other direction. We don't always have to come into it with the arms. In this place, you can cartwheel the arms and feel this big windmill effect. But again, we want to make sure that the pelvis is sinking down evenly. Then we can press a little bit more weight into the outside of our left foot. Branch out through your arms. I want you to take 3 of your deepest breaths here. Slow and steady. And then start to straighten out your left leg, squeezing from the thigh. Reach forward with your left fingertips, lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Ooh. And then bring the left hand down towards the ground, or the thigh, shin, or the block. Right hand reaches up towards the sky, triangle pose. Now what to do with your head and neck. You can either have your gaze facing down at the ground, along the horizon, or up at your outstretched hand. Squeeze from those inner thighs and feel your tail reaching straight out towards the wall behind you. Inhale, lift yourself up, warrior two. And exhale, flip the palm, reach up and over for reversed warrior. Right groin sinks down towards left foot. Inhale, back up, warrior two. Exhale, reach forward, left elbow on the thigh, shoulders away from the neck. You're going to bring the arm up and over for side angle. See the straight line from my right heel to the right fingertips. And Joel Kramer described in triangle pose, there's lines of energy that you start to feel. So surge the energy through the heel and then charge that energy up through your fingertips. Good, inhale, come up, warrior two. Straighten out the front leg, reach forward, exhale, triangle pose. Keep the spine straight, so we're not rounding through the spine, but keeping it long here. Good, inhale, warrior two, adjust the pelvis. Good, reverse the warrior, slide the right hand down, keep the bend in the front knee. Good, inhale, lift up, warrior two. Exhale, reach forward, elbow on the thigh, right arm reaches up and over, side angle. Inhale, back up, warrior two. And exhale, hands cartwheel down, frame the foot, and step it back, downward facing dog. Lower your knees to the floor. Walk your knees forward to the wrists. Cross the ankles or shins, and then sit back behind your feet. All right, any questions on those 4 new poses? Warrior two, triangle, reversed warrior, or side angle? My feet get sweaty. I start to do the splits. Yeah. Okay, so with that, you can slide your feet in a little bit closer. So when we do start out, bring your feet in a little bit more so you're going to have more stability so that when you do start to slip a little bit, that you can squeeze from your inner thighs a little bit more to create that structure. Sometimes when our feet are a little too wide, we can just start to give out, right? You can also make sure that you're not putting lotion on your feet before we start the practice, or even putting a towel down on top of the entire mat. That might even be helpful for you. A beach towel would be probably ideal for that, so that you can actually have your feet on the mat so they're not going to be skidding across. Okay, so those are all, you know, possible options for you to work with. It's annoying when you do slide because you feel like you're it's working against you, right? You're having to work that much harder for it. So I get that. I've had many practices where I felt like just throwing my yoga mat into the fire. And I was like, no, I'm done with you, right? But I have anger issues. So, all right. Anybody else? Questions? Let's do a little bit of stretching before we sit down all the way. So let's do a bit of review. We did our seated postures. I want you to come into your head to knee pose. So you're gonna keep your right leg straight out in front of you. Remember that your hips are gonna be facing towards that right leg. Your left knee is bent, and you can see how my foot is just tucked into the inside of my right leg. I'm gonna turn my belly button towards that right knee, and some of you might be a good candidate to have a bend in your knee here, or if you have your strap, you can work with that. Otherwise, the arms will go up. You'll inhale, lifting up tall, and then exhale, bring yourself down, tipping from the pelvis as much as you can go. Then bring your belly onto your thigh, let the head relax down towards your knee. Head to knee pose. Holding onto your foot, ankle, shin, whatever you've got that's available to you, and seeing if you can move from the pelvis first, and then feel the length of the spine continue out as you stretch forward. Good. Relax your neck. And deep breath out. Good. Another full breath here. And deep breath out. Inhale, the arms go forward and all the way up. Exhale, release the arms down. Switch the legs out. Left leg goes forward, right knee bends, the foot tucks in. Your belly is still facing forward over towards that left knee. Inhale, the arms go up, unless you have a strap, and then exhale, going forward. Good. If you know that you do have a lot of space between belly and thigh, you always can bend your knee, bringing your belly onto the thigh and working from here. And if you're not feeling a deep enough stretch in the belly of the muscle there, you can start to keep the belly glued and then straighten out until you feel that stretch. Good. Relax your neck. Square off the shoulders. So sometimes that right shoulder likes to sit high. See if you can level it off. And take a few more of your deepest breaths here. Good. Then inhale, arms go forward. Lift yourself up tall. Exhale, release the arms down by your sides. Bring both legs out in front of you. You're going to slide your bottom forward towards your heels. Take the legs with you as you lower yourself down onto your back. Rock side to side, massaging out. And then
Hey, Professor, we can't hear you.
Let yourself breathe. Staying down and relaxing here still. I'd like you to ask yourself how it is that this practice has shifted or changed with your new knowledge of the yamas. Ahimsa, compassion, non-harming. Satya, truthfulness, honesty. Asteya, non-stealing, and taking only what you need. Brahmacharya, non-lusting. And aparigraha, non-grasping, non-attachment. Take another full breath in wherever you are. And exhale, ease it out. Stretch the arms up and overhead. Lengthen out through the entire body. All the way up and over. And release with a sigh. Draw the knees into your chest, wrap the arms around, and carefully tip over onto one side. Press hands into the floor. Extend top leg and ease your way up to a comfortable seat. Hands come together at heart center and feel free to unmute yourself for the closing of our practice. The light within me bows to the light within you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.